Hi, it's Joss from Joss and Belle. As you can see, I am in character of one of the greatest shows that I've ever watched, Yellowstone. I watched it on Peacock. It does stream on Paramount Plus. It's now in its 5th season, just started, so if you want to watch it, make sure you can check it out on either one of those platforms. Usually it takes me a while to find a show that I want to dig into, that I want to commit to. I watch reruns of old shows that I love, but I finally decided to commit to Yellowstone, and I'm really glad I did. The first episode is about an hour and a half long. It's like a movie. It sets the tone, it sets the pace, it sets the scene of what this show is going to be about. And I think what drew me to this was the commitment that the actors have to their characters, the authenticity of this family living out in Montana and running this ranch that they have. There are cowboys, there are barrel racers. It's the nit and gritty and dirtiness of this job that they do, of taking care of these acres and acres of land. You know, being inside, being in the city, being in the suburbs, it's just a stark contrast to what I am normally used to. Now, it follows John Dutton, the patriarch of this family. He has 4 children, 2 of whom are like city slickers, powerful merger, acquisition, takeovers, and lawyers, and then 2 are cattle ranchers, cowboys. They live on reservations or on his land. Throughout all 4 seasons, the main common theme is people, billionaires, trillion-dollar companies want to build cities, airports, casinos, ski resorts, vacation towns in this land area where John Dutton has his ranch, because it's pristine, it hasn't been touched, it's beautiful. City slickers just want to get away from their city life and come to this ranch and be cowboys, the dream that every rich person wants to, but they don't have the authenticity to do that. Now, my favorite character on this is Beth. Beth is one of his children. She is this high-profile city girl now who does mergers and acquisitions, takes over companies. You know, she's the big gun. She's a hotshot. She comes back to the ranch to help her father defend and keep his ranch alive so that other people can't take it. But she still has that element of her seeing and growing up on the ranch with the cattle, and her mom died when she was little, so there's that hardness within her. She just is a very well-developed character, and the actress who plays her, Kelly Riley, I believe is her name, she plays Beth so beautiful. And I've watched some of her interviews, and like, she is a total opposite of what Beth is. Beth is a badass. She's hardcore. She's not afraid of anybody. She'll stand up to everybody. And I think one of the main reasons that I love her is that she knows that this ranch isn't going to be sustaining to her family for long term. She wants to sell it, grab the money, be billionaires, millionaires, and make something of it. But she's so committed and loyal to her father, who just wants to save the land. He couldn't care less about money. He just wants the land. And Beth realizes that's what her father wants, even though she knows they could make millions upon millions if they sell it. She's not delusional, which I think is why I really like her and why she's so well written. She's also tied to this character called Rip, who I love. He is even harder than she is. He's like a hitman kind of, but you know, he grew up hardcore. They give, what I also like with Yellowstone, they give backstories to all of these characters, like when they were children, so you see why they are the way they are now. And with Rip, he had a really tough childhood. John Dutton took him under his wing and, you know, trained him up in the way of cowboying and ranching and all of that. So Rip is devoted to John Dutton, but he and Beth also have this beautiful relationship where they're these hard characters and mean and evil sometimes in ways that they have to be to protect the people that they love. But when they come together, they're the most kind, sweet, beautiful love story that I really honestly have seen on TV or in a movie. I think because the writing is so good and the actors are so good, they play their hardness of their characters so well, and then the sweetness and the tenderness that they have for each other and only each other so beautifully, that it's because it's so opposite, it just works. And I just love them so much, like their love story and how they grow their relationship and how you see their relationship unfold. I only want good things for Beth and Rip. They are my favorite. I love them so much. John Dutton, Kevin Costner's character, kind of gets on my nerves sometimes because all he cares about is the land and he doesn't really care about the money. And then of course you have the side characters. There's these men and women towards the later seasons that are in the bunkhouse where they do all the hardcore chores, and the bunkhouse brings some comedic relief. It brings some life and some lightness to the show, because the show is very dark, very heavy, very violent. There's a lot of politics, a lot of deaths, a lot of fightings, a lot of shootings. It's a good familial bond that these characters have, and they play it off really well. Like, they are really strong and tight-knit towards each other, which I love to see. I don't know, you just feel a part of it. Like, you get immersed in their world and you just feel like you're part of something bigger when you're watching the show, because it's so expansive, and you know, they're trying to save their land and they're going up against all these adversaries and all these antagonists throughout the show, but they're bonded together because of this land and this job and this love that they have. Also, you get to see a lot of the Indian reservation, the Native Americans' life, because some of their adversaries, the Yellowstone John Dutton, are part of the Native American Indian reservation, Broken Rock Reservation, and then one of John Dutton's sons, Casey, is married to a Native American woman. So you get to see the expansiveness and what goes on a reservation, but some of the culture and the upbringing that Monica, Casey's wife, had, and what problems that they go through as well. I mean, they're fighting against John Dutton because that was originally their land, so they want it back as well. So it's just been interesting to see that juxtaposition and that way of life as well play out against John Dutton and his cattle ranching. Now, as we're leading into the 5th season, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, the ever posing threat that the billionaires, trillionaires, and the government pose to John Dutton and his family's land. It's a really good show. I recommend that everyone go check it out because it just takes you away from what your normal life is like. Unless you live out in Montana and the Midwest and you're a cowboy and a rancher, then it's probably your day-to-day life. And we post videos every Tuesday, so we'll see you next Tuesday.